Happy final 15 days, 16-ish days of 2022. And I've had a couple conversations lately that I thought might be beneficial to share. So if you're kind of struggling with what to do about the holiday parties and the holiday meals that are coming up these next 2 weeks and still wanting to stay on track, or you're just feeling like you just quit and give up and kind of just in that negative place, I think the numbers and this quick tip I have for you will help. So I'm going to give you 2 things in this video to help you. I'm going to give you some numbers that will absolutely take the pressure off when you sit down and think about it. So I'm excited to share that math with you. And then I'm also going to make some quick meal prep to share with you how simple and how fast you can still prep some healthy things to have in between those holiday parties. Now, I have done nothing in preparation so that the duration of this video is how long it takes me to prep. And that's my first number for you. I think sometimes we don't really know how long meal prep or planning a meal could take, and we assume it's going to take hours or the whole day. And so getting some real numbers for yourself or searching recipes by how much time it takes and your skill level can really help you. So I'm going to give you something simple and I'm going to show you how long it takes me. And I am not an expert in the kitchen. You're sitting on my air fryer right here and it's my favorite way to cook. But I'm going to show you something different. Now what I'm going to do could also work in a crock pot. I'm going to do it in the oven so it can bake while I'm going back to work then. And the only prep I did in preparation for this is I pulled some chicken breast out of the freezer and I put it in the bag in the sink to thaw last night. So I did prep ahead as far as getting frozen protein out of the freezer. You can buy it fresh on your way home today and still make this meal. And then I'm going to get things started here, and then I'm going to give you some of those other numbers to give you some of that freedom. So in my oven, we use it to store. So my first step is taking the stuff and putting it on the table. And then grabbing my baking dish. So I'm going to be using this dish to make a fajita chicken, which can actually be used in several different ways, as you'll see. So I have my baking dish. I'm going to close my oven and I'm going to set it and forget it to warm up. I like to cook in my oven at 375. So I have that started. Now I'm going to go grab some peppers from the fridge, onions, a knife, and my cutting board, and I will be right back. So, cutting board. Handy dandy knife. We have this new magnet strip that holds our knives, so it's even faster. So I've got 3 peppers left in a family value pack, 1 onion, and I'm going to grab my tablespoon and olive oil. As well as taco seasoning. So I am just going to throw 2 tablespoons of olive oil into my pan, and then I'm going to start cutting my veggies and tossing them in there. And I like to cut them in larger chunk sizes, but you don't have to cut them that big. You make this how you want. If you want to dice them up small, go for it. If you want to keep them half the size, go for it. This is about how you enjoy your food. You don't have to do it a certain size. Now I'm going to give you my first relief while I start the chopping. And that is, if you look at how many days we have left in 2022, we have 16 days left. So if you eat 3 meals a day and 1 snack a day, that means 16 times 4, that is 64 meals that you will be enjoying between now and 2022. Now, let's get real. You write down your numbers as I say this, but let's, for example, say you have 2 family holiday meals between now and the end of the year. I'll give you 2 work parties between now and the end of the year, assuming you have another adult in the house that works somewhere different. You may have less if you work at the same place or depending on your home life. Okay, so that's 2 more work parties. You have 3 kids or group party events. So what I mean by that is maybe the daycare or the swim club has a Christmas party or a Hanukkah party or a holiday party for your kids. Maybe the school has a party. Maybe it's not that. It's you belong to a club or a gym or a business and it's separate outside of work. And so you have that extra time. So we're giving you 2 family parties, 2 work parties, 3 kids parties, and New Year's Eve. That's a total of 6 parties to indulge in rich and fun and silly foods between now and New Year's Eve, including New Year's Eve. If we take those 6 parties divided by how many meals you're eating between now and then, that's 6 divided by 64. That is 0.09375%. I'm going to round it up to 10% for you. Let me tell you right now, eating and enjoying silly food, rich foods, indulgent foods, 10% of your consumption between now and December 31st, 2022 is not going to derail you, have you off a wagon, have you off the road. It is not going to do the things that you may be telling yourself. Isn't that freeing math? Like, isn't that math exciting? I'd love to hear in the comments. Take a look at your calendar between now and December 31st. How many parties do you have? How many dinners or going out to eats do you really have between now and December 31st? And when you divide those numbers of party by 64 meals, you realize it is not about the parties. It is not about the cookies and the cake and the wine. It is about what you tell yourself when you enjoyed those things today and what that means for tomorrow. So yes, if you take all the leftovers and you eat all your meals between now and end of year, silly and indulgent because you just give up, that will have a detrimental effect on how you feel. It will be harder to start and get things back going when January 1st comes, and it'll really kind of stir things up for you. It does take 2 to 3 weeks for your body to form a fat cell. So even if you do gain a few pounds, it's probably water retention and salt and just your digestive system spurring up some different things because it's not used to eating silly like that. And in that case, you don't have to look at it as I'm gaining 10 pounds. That's not what's happening. You're not gaining 10 pounds of fat. And so using those numbers to your power and releasing it is really going to help you understand that you still have so much time between now and December 31st to enjoy those celebrations with work and family friends and still feel good and not have to throw in the towel and carry around that shame and guilt that I know I did for so many years. So I got excited about talking to you and got distracted, but I learned this new trick for cutting peppers. You come in the crease at the top and then you spin it to the back, and you do that at the 4 creases in the pepper and it peels open. Isn't that cool? It peels open. It makes it so much simpler, so faster. I mean, look, I don't even have to clean anything out of this piece. I am so glad I saw this tip. Hope that you saw this tip too and it helps you in prepping faster. So I'm going to get back because I said I would do this, but I do want to talk about a little more about that mindset. Like, so much of what we tell ourselves dictates what we do next. And so if we tell ourselves it doesn't matter what I eat because I already had 3 cookies today, we're not realizing the benefit of continuing forward even with those 3 cookies and realizing that, yeah, those cookies actually didn't matter in the long term. This is life. I had a conversation with someone once and I was like, if there was, I'm getting all excited and sweaty from this hat and jumping around. If there was a pill that you could take that you never had to eat ever again, your blood work, your health, everything was perfect. You were at the perfect fitness level, perfect everything by taking that one pill a day, would you do it? And initially she said yes. And then once we thought about it, we're like, okay, let's think about what that pill means. That pill means no more Aunt Betty's chocolate cake. No more mom's au gratin potatoes. Like, it means so much more than just that pill. And that's when we realize what we eat, our food in our culture, how we're raised, how we're brought up, is really so much more about other things than consumption, than food. Like, we really don't grow up as a standard in the United States looking at food as fuel. Think about it. We get a new job, let's go out to eat. We lose a job, let's go out to eat. We get married, we get a new relationship, let's go out and celebrate, let's go out and eat. Like, everything attaches a different meaning to food than what food is actually meant to. So when it comes to addressing our food, we really have to use that power in our minds and change how we're thinking about it and saying it, because that's where it stems from. It's those thoughts and those things we're telling us. So I'm curious if anybody did the math on how many parties they have and what's going on for the end of the year. Ooh, I see Jamie said yes. That really puts it in perspective when we look at those numbers and realize it's not a big deal. So I'm going to show you my pepper thing again in case you missed it. So you start at the top, and anywhere there's a crease, well, I do it at 4 creases, but the big creases, you start here, you spin it around to the back. So you stop back here, then you do that again, and then again, and then you come to the back and you pop. So quick. So if anything, and if you're short for time, if you work 2 jobs, you're chasing kids and you're in high demand with your schedule and your life. Maybe you run a business outside of your work like I do. And there's a lot of different things that you do. You can invest the money in buying peppers and fruit and veggies that are already cut and prepped. You're giving someone else a job who's doing it. So you're helping the economy, you're helping someone else. And on top of that, you're saving yourself some time. And it's just one way to get some of your time back. So I threw this all in with the olive oil. Now I'm going to go grab my thawed bag of chicken. Okay, so I will say I did not do a good job of marking how many chicken breasts I have in here when I froze it. So I can't tell you if this is 2 pounds or 3 pounds, but adjust by your family size. If you have multiple people you're feeding, you probably already know how much chicken that you buy. Also, this freezes and reheats great. And for me, it lasts for 4 or 5 days a meal if I'm eating it by myself. And if I'm sharing with my family, it lasts for like 3 days. So beneficial. Now, got the chicken off. I have these little taco seasoning packs that are really nothing in it, but they came with something I ordered a while ago. So I'm just going to use that, and I'm just going to dump it on. Dump it on, dump it around, mix it up. So now I got my chicken breast here. I got some seasoning. You can go any kind of seasoning. I'm going to pop it in the oven and set my timer on my watch. I will be back in 20 minutes. So I'm not sure how long I've been going live, but when I get off, I'll see, and that will be how long I could have prepped a meal. You can grab some corn tortillas and heat them up and make this into a fajita. You can throw it on some salad greens with some tomatoes and shredded cheese and salsa. You can throw it with some brown rice. You can eat it right by itself. It's so versatile. And like I said, you can also just throw all these things in the crock pot and add some vegetable or chicken stock and get that through. So what I want to encourage you, and why I showed you that you could meal prep pretty quickly, is sometimes we assume numbers, or we are giving weight and thought to numbers that aren't real. And so getting that data is so important and helpful. And so if this was helpful, or if you enjoyed it, please feel free to share. I'd love to hear some more questions in the comments as they come up. And I'd love to hear if you do the math, or if you found that freedom of, I can enjoy the work party tonight and the holiday parties next week and make it through. And you know what? Just because you can doesn't mean you have to. You can still go with a bottle of water in your hands to keep them busy while you're enjoying, and have a glass of water in between the silly drinks, and you don't have to have a cookie and dessert just because it's offered. So you can even find better ways to enjoy for yourself. But if you've been putting a lot of pressure and stress over these last 2 weeks of the year and thinking it's just no point, I hope this really helped show that you can meal prep some food between today and tonight, to have a healthy dinner tonight, or to have some food for the weekend in between parties. And I hope that it gave you some freedom, realizing there's really not that bad to jump in and have some silly stuff with your friends and family. Love to see questions in the comments, and thanks so much for joining some of my lunch break with me. I'll see y'all later.